Alright. Name is Dale. Doing a movie review for Richard Jewell and also Uncut Jems. These movie reviews are done on behalf of Audio Liquor Mag, Audio Liquor Magazine. Gonna start off with Richard Jewell. I'm later doing this review than I want to be. I actually saw this like 3 weeks ago, but maybe it's for the best because now I get to do this review along with Uncut Jems. And Richard Jewell is about this guy named Richard Jewell who's a security guard. And Richard Jewell is played by Paul Walter Hauser. I believe that's his name. And he saves like 100 lives from an exploding bomb that was planted in Centennial Park during an event that was taking place during the 1996 Olympics, Summer Olympics. And I believe this park was in Atlanta, Georgia. First, Richard Jewell is looked upon as the hero, and then he's vilified by this overzealous journalist who writes an article accusing him of being a terrorist and planting the bomb. And then that leads to the FBI investigating Richard Jewell. And they're going at him hard. They're really digging into his background, his life, trying to get evidence. And Paul Walter Hauser, who plays Richard Jewell, does a very good job acting. If you've seen clips of the actual Richard Jewell, Paul Walter Hauser sounds and looks just like him from the clips I've seen. So they did a great job casting him as Richard Jewell. Then you have Sam Rockwell, who plays the lawyer Richard Jewell. And Sam Rockwell makes any movie better. He's a phenomenal actor, one of my favorite actors. Then you got Olivia Wilde. She plays the go hard journalist who does just about any and everything to get the story first. Then you have John Hamm, who's like the lead investigator who works for the FBI. He's tasked with getting the conviction, finding evidence on Richard Jewell that will make him the terrorist. And then you have Kathy Bates, the legendary Kathy Bates, who plays Richard Jewell's mother. And then you have Clint Eastwood, who's the director of the movie. He doesn't play in the film, but he's the director. And I'm amazed by Clint Eastwood, how he's able to, it seems like he puts out a movie every year and he's well into his 80s. He has to be damn near 90 at this point. And I'm amazed how he's able to put out a movie every year. He just came out with a film, a year ago, called The Mule, which he was the star and he directed the film, which is a pretty good movie, by the way. I reviewed that film. You can find it somewhere on YouTube. But as good as The Mule is, Richard Jewell is even better. This might be Clint Eastwood's best movie since American Sniper. And Clint Eastwood has some classics under his belt, such as Unforgiven, which is the best Western in my opinion, and $1 Million Baby, which is a classic. I really love that film. He has a few misses, but his track record is pretty good. So despite his political views, which he gets a lot of crap about, and he should, I don't agree with some of the things he believes in. He's kind of like a very staunch, strict conservative. He has a very staunch conservative outlook on certain things. But I try to separate the art from the person, so that doesn't keep me from enjoying or watching his films. But anyway, I was amazed how this movie was able to keep me intrigued, keep me engaged, where most of the scenes are in the apartment where Richard Jewell and his mother live. Like I would say, a little over half the film takes place in this apartment. And that's a feat in itself, to keep you so much into the story in the film is basically taking place in one location. I mean, he has other locations, but for the most part is in this apartment. It's very dialogue heavy, and it keeps you wondering, keeps you thinking. The acting is good across the board. And I had very little knowledge about Richard Jewell going, and I knew of the bomb exploding during the Olympics, the 1996 Summer Olympics, but I didn't really know anything about Richard Jewell. I didn't know about the details of the story. So I'm going into this fresh, not knowing really too much of the history of this story. So that made it even better for me. Now, someone who knows this story in and out might have a different view of it, but I still think you will enjoy the film nonetheless. So I'm going to give this movie an A-. I don't even know why I'm giving it an A-. I should give it an A, but I'm going to give it an A-. I can't really think of anything I didn't like about it. I can't think of no dislikes, no flaws that I can really, think of. So I'm going to give it an A-. Probably one of the movies that I think will be even better once I see it again, but an A- is a good grade, so it's probably out the theaters by now because it didn't make a lot of money for some crazy reason. It's a drama, so maybe that's what it is. But whenever it comes on streaming, definitely check that out. Now we're going to move on to Uncut Gems. A little late doing this review as well. Saw the movie actually later than I anticipated. I wanted to see it the first weekend it came out, but I ended up seeing it the second weekend. And I had my folks. I was intending on seeing this film anyway, but one of my folks, AG, Tony, said it's official, you gotta see it. So I said, oh, you just stamped it. I was gonna go see it anyway, but I'm definitely gonna go see it now. So and I had read a few things about it, how it was getting praise and people was loving it. A few critics that I read and heard was loving the film. And the movie is about Adam Sandler. He plays this character. I forgot the character's name. I think his name was Howard in the film. And he's this jeweler. He's just like, he kind of reminds me of the jeweler, Jacob the Jeweler. If anybody's familiar with hip hop culture or the music business, like in the 90s and probably early 2000s, rappers and some R&B singers will go to this jeweler. His name was Jacob the Jeweler. And he would make these exotic pieces for him of like chains, medallions, watches, rings, very exotic, eccentric, very flamboyant type jewelry. He would make specially for these rappers and some singers. So that's who Adam Sandler kind of remind me of in this film from that aspect, because he's like making jewelry for Kevin Garnett, the former NBA player. And this takes place in 2012, the film Uncut Gems. So this is when Kevin Garnett is actually still playing in the NBA, and Kevin Garnett is playing himself in the film, and he does a good job. Even though he's playing himself, he does a better job acting than I thought he would. He does a good job. I was impressed from the scenes he's in. And he has some significant scenes in there. He has some significant lines in the movie. He's just not there for show. Then you got Lakeith Stanfield, who's like the guy who gets the NBA players and the singers and the rappers for Howard to do jewelry for. And Adam Sandler, who plays Howard, he has a gambling problem. He can't control himself. He's addicted to gambling. He loves gambling on NBA games. And he gets over his head. He places too many bets that don't hit, and now he owes a lot of different people. So he has bookies coming after him, threatening him, hurting him, all kinds of craziness. So he's trying to do this high wire balancing act where he's trying to pay off all these people and flip and bounce one debt to pay off another debt. Then he's on the outs with his family, his wife and kids. They live in a nice house in the suburbs, and he goes there sometimes, even though him and his wife are beefing. They having problems. And also he has a living girlfriend in the apartment he has in the city. And this takes place mostly in New York City. So he's trying to balance that, and he's having problems with his living girlfriend. So it's a drama, there's a lot of things going on. And I don't want to spoil anything, but I'm sitting there watching it and I get laughs out of it. It has its funny moments. It's entertaining. But most of the movie, I'm like, this is a good movie, but it's not as good as my folks made it to be. I was like, it's not as good as I heard some critics saying it was. I'm saying it's good, but it ain't that good. But then the end comes. And I did not see that end coming. The end made me say, oh, like, I don't want to use no profanity, but it made me cuss out loud. I was like, oh, I didn't see that coming. It was very unpredictable, and which I like. The end, talking about sticking the landing, the end is great. I love that ending. The end is so good it elevates the rest of the movie. I'll say, oh, so this movie is what my folks were saying it was. That end brings it home. I highly recommend this film. It's still at the theaters. It's not. It's an independent film, so it's not really generating a lot of money. And being that it's a drama, so to speak, it's like a mystery drama, as you can, if you want to label that. So it's not really going to garner a lot of money, but it is doing better than some folks anticipated, if that makes any sense. So I highly recommend people go see this movie at the theater. I really like it. Adam Sandler should get an Oscar nomination. Yes, this is the best I've seen him since Punch Drunk Love. Yeah, that movie was a good movie too. And this is not a comedy now. Even though it has some funny moments, this is not a comedy. Yes, Adam Sandler, the one who makes all them goofy movies that you see in them bad comedies. Bad meaning bad. He's made some terrible comedies and some movies that you can see on Netflix that are not that good. But this movie right here and his performance, he does a good job. He needs to get an Oscar nomination. And I really like this film, and I'm gonna give it an A- as well. Probably should be giving it an A, but I'm gonna give it an A-. So there you have it. I'm done. I'm finished, and there you have it.